This video is going to talk about how to divide multi-digit numbers. One of the things that you're going to notice first is I have Division Man up here, and this is a way that you can keep track of the division steps if you're a little bit uncertain. Because division always starts off with division, and then you multiply, and then you subtract, and then you bring down. And we'll walk through that a little bit as we're doing this. You see the first problem up here is set up 278 divided by 18. And what you need to figure out first is what number is going to go inside the division sign. And here's the way that I like to think about it. I like to think about the division sign as the L. We know this, we've made the L in class. And normally we use it to line up against the fraction bar. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn that L, and I'm going to imagine it as a division sign going over the problem. And you notice that it stops over the first number because of the bottom part of the division sign, the side part. So that means that the 278 is going to go on the inside, and that the 18 is going to be left in the rain outside, which is a bummer, but it'll survive. So we have 278 divided into 18 chunks. So let's take a look at what that's going to look like. First of all, can 18 go into 2? Nope, 18 can't go into 2. So I'm going to put an X above that 2 so that I remember not to write anything above there, so that I put my answer in the right spot, which is going to be super important as we continue through this section. Now, can 18 go into 27? Yes, 18 can divide into 27. Now I need to know how many times 18 can go into 27. And I'm looking at just 18 into 27. A simple way to look at this is to just look at to cut out one number. So we're already not looking at the 8. We just want to know how many times 18 goes into 27. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to look at I'm going to cut the last number out. So now I'm looking at 1 into 2. Roughly how many times does 1 go into 2? Well, it goes in 2 times. So let's go ahead and let's give this a shot. Let's see what happens when we try 2 times. 2 times 8 is 16. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. And because this 36 is bigger than 27, I did something wrong. There was some kind of mistake in my guess and check. So because this number is too big, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and I'm going to lower this by one number. We're in the division part of this division man. So let's erase what we just did. And I know 2 won't work. So let's try 1 lower. Let's try a 1. 1 times 18 is going to be 18. Hey, look, that works. 18 is smaller than 27, so I know that that's going to work. Dividing with larger numbers can sometimes be a little bit of a guess and check. Don't let that scare you away from it. It just takes a little bit more thought to get yourself in there. So 27 minus 18, I can't do 7 minus 8 right away. I have to borrow. 2 becomes a 1. 17 minus 8 is going to be 9. 1 minus 1 is nothing, so I don't have to worry about that. So we multiplied 1 times 18. We subtracted 27 minus 18 is 9. Now I need to remember the beard, or the kind of t-shirty section, however you think about it, of division man. And I need to bring down the 8. Now I need to figure out how many times does 18 go into 98. Well, I know that 18 is super close to 20. And I know that 98 is super close to 100. So I'm going to show you a different strategy. 18 is close to 20. 98 is close to 100. How many times does 20 go into 100? Well, 20 will go into 100 5 times. So let's give it a shot and let's see what happens when I multiply by 5. 5 times 8 is going to be 40, so I'm going to put down the 0. I'm going to carry the 4. 5 times 1 is going to be 5, plus 4 will be 9. 90 is smaller than 98. Looks good. 98 minus 90 is going to be 8. Now, in your younger years, you might have seen this 8 and thought, oh, I have a remainder answer. but we're too old for that now. We're ready to move on. So this 8 is going to come which color am I using? I don't know. All the way from the bottom, all the way up to the top. So high up that it's going to be in the numerator. So we're going to put that 8 on top. And what number were we dividing by? We were dividing by 18. So this 18 is going to go on the bottom. My answer is 15 and 8 over 18. And if you remember anything about me, you know that 8 over 18 is not an acceptable final answer because we still need to simplify, and that's our favorite thing to do. So 8 and 18 are both even. So let's divide that by 2 over 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4. 18 divided by 2 is 9. 4 over 9, I can't do anything with that. So my final answer is not 4/9, it's 15 and 4/9. Let's take a look at another example. Let's take a look at 5,272 divided by 64. In order to solve this problem, I have to think about that division sign sliding over, stopping over the first number. So I know that 5,272 is going to go on the inside. 64 is going to go on the outside. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try to fit 64 into 5. 64 doesn't fit into 5. Let's try to fit 64 into 52. Still doesn't work. So I'm going to put another X. So I make sure I'm putting my numbers where they are supposed to be and lining it up properly. Now I need to figure out, can 64 go into 527? This is how far I've gotten so far. 64 can go into 527. Let's try to figure out how many times. 64 into 527, those are kind of big numbers, so I'm going to look at 6 into 52. 6 can go into 52. Well, I know that 6 times 9 is 54, so 6 times 8 is 48, so let's go ahead and try 6 times 8, or 64 times 8. 8 times 4, 8 and 8 is 16, 16 and 16 is 32. 8 times 6 is 48 plus 3, 49, 50, 51. So I have 527 minus 512. Let's go ahead and let's do that subtraction. 5 minus 5, we don't need to worry about that. 7 minus 2 is 5. 2 minus 1 is 1. 5 minus 5, we still don't need to worry about that because that's 0. So now I need to bring down the 2. Now I need to know how many times 64 can go into 152. And to figure that out, I'm going to again look at 6 into 15. 6 goes into 15. Well, 6 times 2 is 12. So let's go ahead and try 6 times 2. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 6 is 12. So I'm left with 152 minus 28. Let's go ahead and subtract. 5 goes down to 4, so I can borrow. 12 minus 8 is 4. 4 minus 2 is 2. And I'm left with 24 for a remainder. And because 24 is the remainder, it's going to go all the way up into the numerator. So I'm left with 82 and 24 over 64. But I know that that's not my final answer. And I know this because they're both even, which automatically tells me, hey, you need to simplify here. So I'm going to think about what number goes into 24 and 64. And I'm going to know that 8 goes into 24 and 64. So I'm going to divide by 8 over 8. 24 divided by 8 is 3. 64 divided by 8 is 8. So my final answer is 82 and 3/8. Your question that you're going to solve on the form is 878 divided by 31.